Hi, second grade. Miss Keeley here. I want to start out by giving you guys a shout out for your panda projects. They look amazing. I loved all the different kind of techniques you incorporated into that, and I was just really happy with how they came out. So nice job. This week we are going to start a new project, and the topic for it is movement. Okay, so I will be attaching this PowerPoint to your Google Classroom assignment, so you can click through it on your own if you would like to. Um, I'm also going to attach this Starry Night video, and it's going to take Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night, and it's going to kind of bring it to life, which is really cool, and I'll explain a little bit more when I show you his artwork. But right now I want to explain kind of what movement in art is, because if we think about a piece of art, usually you think of a painting or a drawing or a sculpture, and it just kind of is either hanging on the wall or it's just kind of sitting there and it doesn't actually move. When I think of things that are moving, I think of like movies, animations, videos, real life, like something moving, like water moving, someone running, cars driving. So at first, I can think back to when I learned about movement in art, and I was like, well, how does art move? And so I'm going to show you guys this page here. So, um, art doesn't actually move unless it's kind of like a sculpture or something that like is designed to actually move, but it rather shows the illusion that it's moving. So it kind of it looks like it's moving even though it's not. So, um, and it goes hand in hand with rhythm. So you guys might have heard that word rhythm before in music, and rhythm is kind of a fancy word for kind of keeping a repetition or repeating something and keeping a beat. Well, repetition or rhythm is kind of you can use it in art also to kind of keep the pattern of something, keep it going. And it kind of works with movement because movement you want to keep something going and give it a direction. So so that's probably really confusing for you to listen to me explain, but movement and rhythm in art is when a work of art gives the illusion that it is moving. It has a direction to it and a sense of repetition. So if you look over here, these cow heads are repeated again and again and again. Same with these birds flying that kind of slowly transition into fish. And it's kind of giving the illusion that it's kind of moving in this direction across. Same with this. If you look over at these trees, there are trees repeated and they're kind of bending over into the same direction. And to me, it looks like maybe it's really windy and the wind is kind of blowing it over. So that's kind of how they created movement in here. If you look up here at these two flowers, this one's just standing straight up, and then this one kind of is bent over to the side and it has all these little lines and it gives the illusion that it's moving. Okay. Um, just like with people, if you had a person just kind of standing straight up, then it or sitting down, then they doesn't really look like they're moving. But if you draw their arms and legs and their feet kind of going in a certain direction, it creates this illusion that there's movement. Okay. Just to give you a little bit more of some examples, um, here are two similar artworks, both of golden retriever dogs, both with like a bluish background. One of them is showing movement and one of them is not showing movement. I'm not going to necessarily tell you which one is or is not, but um, to me, there's one that really looks like it's showing a lot of movement. It's not just kind of sitting there. Okay, so maybe you can discuss it with a family member or to yourself and kind of think and decide which one you think is showing movement. Okay. Um, Here's another example. Two ballerinas, both kind of the same colors. One of them looks like it's actually moving and dancing, and one of them does not. So I want you to kind of figure out which one you think it is. And then last one is two horses. One of them looks like it is running. One of them looks like they're just standing there. Think about like why you think that one is showing movement. What did the artist do to really create that it shows movement? Okay. And then here in this last one are two famous works of art. We have Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night, which I'm sure some of you have seen before. this is the picture that I'm going to attach the video where it's going to actually bring this painting to life and really start moving around the sky and bringing it to life so you can actually see kind of what it would look like, sorry, if it was moving. And just by looking at it, it looks like it's kind of like a windy night. Things are kind of swirling in the sky. Maybe it's snowy. The artist Vincent van Gogh used a lot of kind of repetitive little dash marks. The tree or bush kind of thing here up in the foreground looks like it's kind of waving up, so maybe the wind is kind of blowing it all around. And then in Hokusai's wave painting, if you think of water, water is something that is constantly moving, but I'm sure you've seen water that is just still, not moving, like a bathtub that is just kind of still water, or a puddle that's not moving, or maybe a pool that no one's swimming in. The water's just kind of flat across the whatever it's in. And then the opposite is these, if you were in a water and you saw this huge wave kind of coming up like this, you would know that it's actually moving and it's going to come crashing down. So it gives this illusion of movement, okay? So for this project that we're going to start, let me pull up our video. So that's going to be what's going to look like towards the end of it. Over here, this is a worksheet that we would have done in class on our first day of kind of practicing movement. I'm not going to have you guys do that at home, but it gives you some different examples of how to create movement. So a lot of repetitive lines going in the same direction, a lot of shapes kind of either growing in size or falling or kind of going in a pathway. And so I would have had you guys kind of draw your own and then create a picture. But what you are going to do today is you are going to need 2 pieces of white paper. And then I was using oil pastels in this. I don't expect you to have oil pastels at home. If you do, awesome, use them. If not, just use crayons. That's what I would be using at home. But I'm taking this, obviously, I'm in my classroom when I made this. But yeah, so you want to use either crayons or oil pastels. If you don't have either, color pencils would work. But yeah, those are 2 options that I think would work best, okay? And so what you're going to be doing is taking, I would say pick maybe 3 to 4 different colors. When I start working on this, you'll see that I stick to kind of a couple basic colors. And what you're going to be doing is filling your first paper with just all different types of designs that you feel like are showing movement. So I did a curl, I do this wavy line, maybe kind of to represent water kind of moving. And then some dash lines kind of following directions. And really you can have some freedom with it. You're just kind of filling it however you want. This should kind of take you a while because I'm going to have you guys do 2 of them. And you can start to see as I fill up my paper more and more, I do stick to a color scheme. So I am sticking to kind of blue, green, yellow. Maybe I incorporate some white. And so yeah, just think of different lines that we've learned about this year, different shapes that we've learned about. Really, you can't do anything wrong. We just want to fill our paper with all different types of designs, okay? And I know that this could be a lot depending on how much detail you add, but you do want to fill your space as much as you can, okay? And so at the end of this first one, this is kind of what I came up with. It's just all different kind of things that are moving, growing, and they're just kind of different lines, shapes, okay? So pick at least 3 or 4 different colors for your first one, and then your second one, let me pull it up, is you're pretty much doing the same thing, but you're going to pick 4 new colors. So, and you can design it kind of however you want again, but it should be a little bit different. And you're just kind of doing the same thing, okay? So I'm just going to fast forward this because it's pretty much what we just did. And same thing, you want to kind of make sure that you fill up the whole space of your paper. You kind of have some open white spots, and then you guys will be good to go for next week's step. So I know this was kind of a lot because I'm having you guys do 2 of these moving little drawings. But maybe you do one of them on one day and then you take a couple days and you do another one. Okay. And it gives you a little bit of freedom because you get to create it kind of how you want. Okay. Um, so I do not need to see a picture of this. Of course, if you do want to send me one, I would love to see it. But it's not mandatory. And then I will chat with you guys next week in what we're going to do with these two pictures so far. All right. I hope you guys have fun with it, and I will chat with you next week. All right. Bye.